Our resident commentator on the passing scene is award-winning author Harlan Ellison. When we call him award-winning, that's an understatement. Harlan has won more awards for his 62 books, more than 1,700 stories, articles, essays, and columns than any other living fantasist. His current books are Minefields, Mephisto and Onyx, and I, Robot Screenplay, based on concepts by Isaac Asimov.
You know, I go where the action is when we do these commentaries, and it keeps going back to the internet. It keeps going back to these computer bulletin boards. Keep getting the flame wars of things that I'm alleged to have said. A couple of weeks ago, it wasn't all that well edited. It was one of the few that Dick Crew didn't edit well, but he does very, very well. But this one, the one I was talking about, conventions, instead of it being a lament for small conventions and meeting people like Edward E. Smith, Doc Smith, and Hugo Gernsback and things like that, and saying the big conventions are now too big and they mostly serve publishers. It turned out that people all of a sudden on the internet were screaming that I was saying that one of the conventions, the WesterCon, had made so much money that they were able to give money to other people, and on and on. It was the usual blabber and babble that you hear on the internet. And so they didn't really get the message of what I had been saying, but it went all over the internet. And then there was another one. The internet got crazy and decided that the great author William Kotzwinkle had not gone to the World Fantasy Convention in New Orleans because I had told him that if I wasn't made the Toastmaster, that I would stop him from going. Well, that's just too loony even to talk about. But I decided that I was going to do a little something about the computer nets this time, and I was going to use not just my comments, but the comments of one of the net gurus, Bruce Sterling. Now, Bruce Sterling is the author of The Hacker Crackdown, among other books, Islands in the Net, Global Head, Schismatrix. I published Involution Ocean. His new book is called Heavy Weather, and he is really a heavy-duty internet guy. And what he says about the nets in his column Cat Scan, which is from a magazine called Science Fiction Eye, is very, very interesting. Electronic text lacks the ritual, sensual elements of print publication: back covers, front covers, typography, italics, convenient stopping places, an impending sense of completion, what one might call the body language of the printed text. The loss of these sensory clues has subtle but profound effects on one's dealing with the text. What he's saying here is that the bulletin board, on which many of you spend most of your nights, is not really the equivalent of a book, that you're not going to get the same sensory load. He also says the letter columns everywhere, the reader-written e-zines, tend to attract monomaniacs with an axe to grind. We have all these people who stand on there and diss each other endlessly. This is one of your own. This is one of your gurus. It's not me babbling at you. This is one of your own high gurus talking. And he says, I've gotten quite a lot of email that by all rights should have been written in crayon by a person whom a kindly society had deprived of sharp objects. It can often take several exchanges of email to bring forth a realization that would have taken perhaps 7 seconds of contact in real life. This person is unhinged. These are all problems that one gets with the computer bulletin boards. I think you should talk among yourselves. And in fact, when he talks about science fiction, he says the net is not really concerned about talking about science fiction. What he says is the net is interested only in the net. Net spiders are, in that sense, much like the ham radio people who bounce signals off the ionosphere all the way to Madagascar so as to ask, well, what kind of ham shack you got? What kind of bulletin board you got? I rest my case. It's not me.